the bunch of people that I met on those calls didn't ever meet someone that was scratching their head saying, no, this doesn't work.
Do you want to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do?
Hi, yep. So I'm Alan Evans. I wear a few different hats actually. So I've got a finance background. I work as a finance consultant, management consultant for a few different businesses. But actually, I'm also a coach. So I'm a life coach and a business coach.
What was going on with you back then that sort of motivated you to want to have a chat with me, a coach? What was happening?
I think I'm pretty good at knowing all the things I could do and should do to be happier, healthier, performing better, more productive. But I don't always do them. So and it's always been a frustration of mine from childhood, kind of just really high standards that I set for myself, and then for whatever reason sometimes just don't have the discipline, don't have the consistency.
What has been your key achievements on learning? What are you high-fiving about having coming out of the process? And then let's maybe dig into some of the things that you've learned that have enabled you to make that happen, both for yourself, physically, mentally, the whole piece.
I think at first it was arriving at the calls, the group calls. In this, it's quite nice at the beginning when you're going at the back end of the call, so you get to hear everyone else. And I was arriving at the call thinking, well, actually, I'm going to be giving an update that's a bunch of stuff that I didn't, I fell a bit short on, and was sort of giving myself a bit of a beating for. And as you're listening to the call and you're thinking, okay, so everyone else is in this camp, and for everyone, it's a learning process, and it's not about perfection, it's about progress. And then by the time it gets around to my turn, I'm thinking, actually, feeling all right. Actually, I've had a pretty decent week, and so my updates the call itself would actually be quite transformative about the way I was feeling. And then the other bit, again, I know I've said it to you before. I think I probably came into it thinking, okay, kind of change my life. It didn't in 8 weeks, but it gave me that bit of extra belief. I've got a fair amount of self-belief, but never enough. And it gave me that extra bit, I think, that made me start thinking, okay, do you know what? Actually, there's nothing I can't do.
On that, and we've sort of touched on this, but I want to just ask explicitly, what would you say, and maybe it's multifaceted, there's a few things, but what would you say from having come through the entire process is your key learning and takeaway from having come out the other end now? What would you say is the main learning for you?
I think probably the number one thing is that sense of I've got just so much more self-belief that when things aren't flowing, that it's not going to take very long to get back into it.
Yeah. Final question. If anyone sat watching this, and you're probably biased as well because you're a coach, right? But if anyone sat watching this, they're on the fence. Maybe they're looking at what you chatted about, going, "Oh, I'm interested, but I'm not sure about a coach," and maybe a bit sort of reticent to get involved. What would you say to someone who's on the fence with something like this, and is probably in a similar situation to you were a few weeks back?
Yeah. Well, first and most obvious thing to say is there's absolutely nothing to be lost from having that initial conversation. So I remember it wasn't with yourself, but had a conversation which I think was a good hour of really exploring, was this right for me? Which was in itself a really useful thing, and actually probably an essential before you join something like this. So why not? What would stop you? And then the second thing is it's never wasted time, wasted money, wasted energy doing something to better yourself. And certainly on my cohort, the bunch of people that I met on those calls didn't ever meet someone that was scratching their head saying, no, this doesn't work. So you get to win. It's just a case of how you do it, when you do it, what you do about it. But everyone
Awesome.
can benefit from it for sure.
Thank you. And again, like I'm biased, I'd agree, but equally, as you know, I think I'm a coach. I have a coach, and I will always sort of invest in that. And I think what you just said there, personal development is great. If something's hard, you learn. If it's great, you learn. And so it's always a win. But I'm obviously incredibly biased, given I run a coaching business.
And me too. It would have been easy for me to come on here.
Shit! Don't. Yeah, coaches are rubbish. Exactly.
I think we're probably both driven by that same motivation that actually everyone can get something out of it. There's more than enough humans out there to benefit from coaching.
That's it. Awesome. Well, on that note, Alan, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Again, hopefully anyone who's watching has enjoyed the conversation. I really have. If anyone's watching and they are interested in having a conversation, you can drop me a note in the comments or send me a DM. On that note, have a fantastic week on Wednesday. Alan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.